in terms of when you think about your talks and things, and you might do Q&A or whatever, but how do you avoid going down the line of thinking of God of the gaps type of arguments that, you know, that anything that can't be explained when you talk about mystery and wonder is really just that's where God comes in, and that's it. I'm sure that you have kind of apologetics around this.
Yeah, I mean, there is a misunderstanding in the way that God enters into the causal picture, right? So God is not there to kind of fill in our gaps in knowledge. What we need to do is to respect our gaps in knowledge about how different cause and effect relationships here in the physical world come about. And we should be able to have a kind of full explanation there. But where God comes into play is on the more metaphysical level, and understanding that all of the causes that we can see and all of the effects that we can see happening can be described in a natural way with one respect. But one of the things that we also have to recognize, and the reason why that, say, for instance, the five ways work, is that a lot of our physical principles are grounded in metaphysical principles, and
Hmm.
that those metaphysical principles point to an origin that explains everything but needs no explanation. And that's where the understanding of God comes into play, is that God causes all things to cause other things in their own natural way. So we talk about a relationship between first and second causality. That in a way, God does really cause everything to happen, but that everything that we see in this world also has a real causal effect, and it can do that precisely because God created the world in the way that it is, and it causes us to be in the way that we are now. This can get a little bit complicated, but we have to recognize that God's causality is not meant to replace natural causality, but to
Hmm.
explain natural causality.
Right.
And
It's not
that's
in
the key.
competition.
Exactly. So, like the God of the gaps is where you kind of plug God into a place where a natural cause should be. Whereas, where God's proper causal place is as kind of the creator of all. I think this was seen, I think, clearly in a book written by the new atheist physicist Lawrence Krauss, who wrote a book called "Why Can Something Come from Nothing?" or "Why Does Something Come from Nothing?" And he kind of gives you a basic physicist overview of the origins of the universe, going all the way back to the Big Bang. And then when he gets back to the Big Bang, he says, and the Big Bang was caused by the initial conditions, and those are basically nothing. Therefore, something comes from nothing. And as a non Christian philosopher of science pointed out, right, that's not nothing.
Right.
That in fact that does need an explanation.